by a boy named Chris that wanted to be a police officer for a day. He was 7 years old. And his mother and Frank and Scott, two police officers, granted that wish. And when he passed away, even his funeral was a police funeral with shooting in the air. He was a sworn-in trooper at the age of 7.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with Leumi Tech and sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Turing, Upwest Labs, and Hillel at Stanford. Our next guest probably has the best job in the world. Literally, she gets to help kids on a daily basis, fulfilling their wishes and making them happy. Meet Denise BarAharon, the CEO and co-founder of MakeAWish Israel. Denise is an entrepreneur who co-founded MakeAWish Israel together with her husband in 1996 in her brother David Spero's name. From MakeAWish's inception 23 years ago, over 4,000 magical wishes have been granted. Denise was also the owner and president of B.T.C International, a buying agency in Israel that represented top firms such as Macy's, Calvin Klein, The Gap, and more. Denise BarAharon, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm honored to have you here talking about granting wishes to those that truly need it and doing it in the most fabulous way possible. Co-founder and CEO of MakeAWish Israel, a phenomenal organization worldwide, but specifically here in Israel. And I keep seeing all of the amazing work that you're doing with some of Israel's most notable known people that are truly doing good. And I see that, just seeing the smiles on the children's faces and everywhere that I go on social media and the billboards and what you're doing now with Disney. It's so inspiring, and I can't wait to dive a little bit deeper, both as to your journey and how you got involved with your husband and MakeAWish Israel, but also a little bit more broadly speaking, and what does it mean to make an impact in this domain? And how do you see your work as you scale it through the years? And where are we as society and where are we headed? So those are a lot of open questions. We don't have much time. But Denise, can you start by telling me a little bit about how you got into MakeAWish Israel? What prompted you? Because you came from retail, you came from different domains.
Yes, of course. So my beautiful brother, David Spero, at the age of 29, was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. And when he was diagnosed, he was really one of the most philanthropic people that I ever knew. For Thanksgiving and even Rosh Hashanah, often he would leave early and say, I gotta go, and he'd go to food kitchens and give out food, way before he was even sick. And when he passed away, he was here doing his master's at Hebrew University. I'm in Israel. And he said, I'd like you to do something to help children. And I had no idea when that would come about. When my husband and I would find the right thing to do in his honor, but we knew we wanted to. And we were at a cocktail party in Ra'anana, and somebody actually said that they were a pirate on a wish. And I said, what does that mean? And they said they were in the Caribbean, and they were asked, would you put on a costume and be part of a child's wish? And I said, wait a minute, Make-A-Wish? Wow. And that was the epiphany. That was the moment that I said, I remember Make-A-Wish from Los Angeles, where I grew up. And we asked him, how can we bring Make-A-Wish to Israel? And that is exactly what we did. And that was 26 years ago and 4,200 wishes later.
Wow.
It just fit like a glove. It fit like a glove because my brother David never made it to India. He always wanted to get to India. And when he got sick, just wasn't smart and safe for him to travel to India. And here I would be able to grant wishes together with my husband to children that want to either be, have, meet, or go. And each time I do that, I really do a high five to David. So that's how it happened, and that's the story behind MakeAWish.
So, give me a little bit more context. You're starting this out 26 years ago, this idea of granting wishes. And first, for those that don't yet know about Make-A-Wish, can you give me a little bit more background about what does it mean, a wish? You gave a little bit of background that it's about, granting these wishes for kids that have a passion to go, make, meet, or be, right? What does it actually mean tangibly to grant 4,200 wishes?
It's a high for me, for my husband, for the people involved. It's a great high. And but what does it mean? It means a lot of corporates and a lot of individual donors and volunteers that are really committed to the cause, because we don't receive funding at all from Make-A-Wish International. It's a global organization. It started in Phoenix, Arizona, by a boy named Chris that wanted to be a police officer for a day. He was 7 years old. And his mother and Frank and Scott, two police officers, granted that wish. And when he passed away, even his funeral was a police funeral with shooting in the air. He was a sworn in trooper at the age of 7. Incredible. So it means getting people passionate about the cause and coming on and being part of the organization. A lot of good people.
Right. And so what is how does the organization actually function? How do you meet a kid who has, unfortunately has some illness or needs help in some way, shape, or form, and then you meet with them and you together figure out how you as Make-A-Wish could make them feel special or help alleviate some of the stresses for a temporary period of time? How does it actually work?
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, Make-A-Wish grants wishes to children between 3 and 18 with critical illnesses. So I'm talking about cancer, liver transplant, heart transplants, diseases you've never heard of, Prader-Willi, very, very sick children that, thank God, today about 60% survive, but 40% don't
Wow.
survive. It used to be different when we started, but medicine has been better. We get a lot of referrals from the social workers in the hospitals. We don't walk the floors of a hospital. They call us and say, this child really needs a wish. And the wish is part of the medical treatment. In some countries, in Spain, doctors are prescribing wishes. There's a prescription book. I should put it on
Really?
my desk. Literally, in Spain, the doctors are writing down, you should have a wish. Now, IDC, the I can't say that word.
Interdisciplinary.
Interdisciplinary school in Herzliya in Israel. The MakeAWish Center, Dr. Tal Ben Shachar is a dear friend, and he said, "How can I help?" And I said, "I'd like to prove that wishes are changing lives, that wishes are helping a sick child. What is the impact of a wish?" And he said, "I'd be delighted to do that." So together with Professor Anat Shoshani, they did the first research of its kind, proving that wishes are making a huge impact. The scholars were incredible when they did the control group versus the children that got wishes. And if somebody knows, for instance, that I don't want to continue my chemo, I can't do it anymore, but they know that Macy is waiting to meet them, or if it's a small child, that Mickey Mouse is waiting to meet them, and you can talk about the wish, then they really, you see the difference in their physical, mental, and emotional state of their critical illness. It truly is part. We say that the doctors give the medicine, and Make-A-Wish gives the magic, and the magic is just as important to these children.
I love that. So 26 years later, and Make-A-Wish Israel is a very well-known organization. Some of the most well-known people and inspiring people across Israel's domains are partnering with you, working now with Disney. And I see the necklace that I can't wait to go to Fox and get for myself. How do you grow? How do you grow an organization over 26 years that is, donor-based? It is 100% impact, doing good. How do you make it a brand and one that people trust and people connect with so deeply and emotionally?
Great question. We are a super brand. We're a super brand in the world. We're the most loved children's charitable foundation in the globe. We are in 45 countries, so we are completely transparent. From every dollar spent, 86 cents goes to wishes, and we can show that in our, Midot is an organization that shows efficiency, and we can show that 86 cents goes to. So we have the Midot certificate in MakeAWish International is Charity Navigator. We have 4 stars, which is the highest rating. And what I do is I take my business background as the president of B.T.C International in the textile industry. I went to school at FIT and learned how to be an offshore agent. And I represented Macy's and TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Calvin Klein. I take that and I say, in order to have a successful foundation, you have to run it like a business. And that is what my husband and I do with an incredible group of people. So for instance, I'll give you the Disney situation. I went to the CEO of Disney Israel and I said, I would like very much to develop a product for the largest chain of stores in Israel, which is the Fox Group, meaning Mango, American Eagle, Fox Home, RA, Foot Locker, huge conglomerate, 627 stores. And I said, can we develop a necklace? Can we use Mickey Mouse, which I'm wearing? Can we use the face? And the back of the necklace has MakeAWish on the back, on the closure. Can we take this, partner with Fox, and develop, here's the silver and here's the gold, and develop a product for purely for the granting of wishes. And so I designed the box because of, again, my background. And Disney is the number one partner of MakeAWish globally, but they've never done co-branding. So this now we're going to show to the world, to MakeAWish International, and hopefully the world will take this on. So Disney contributes a great deal. We've never done a product that's co-branded. So that's very, very exciting. And the Noah Kirel and the Dvir Benedict and all of those incredible talents, Lior Sushal, they have become international ambassadors because they themselves are the largest brands in Israel and they want to connect themselves with MakeAWish. So when I asked them, they were delighted. And as Dvir, our chairman of the board, says all the time, I can't use my celebrityhood just to get a discount at night. I need to do for others with my face. He said, my face is is so valuable to, today because of the amount of TV and theater that he does, but I should use it in a good cause. And he's incredible. He's really, really incredible in that. And all these others.
I love that. Yeah. I think it's so innovative taking this approach, and I think that one of the things that I love most about this initiative, whether intended or not, it's this idea that anybody can become a contributor at various moments, even when it's not intentionally going now to the MakeAWish website and making a donation, which has a lot of friction. Regardless of how we look at it, there's a lot of friction for the average person to make a donation, even if it's a $1 donation. But when we're doing something for ourselves, like going shopping for textiles or clothes at these stores, and we see this and we see this Mickey Mouse, and we're creating this brand where by wearing this necklace, I'm saying I too care and I too am want to be a part of granting wishes. I think it's completely innovative and I love it, and I can't wait to see everybody in Israel, including myself, walk around with a Mickey Mouse necklace, and the design of the box is beautiful, Denise. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've had over the past 26 years? I'm always curious about, you're saying you're running this like a business, which makes a lot of sense to me because that's how you scale. That's how you make it a greater impact. 4,200 wishes. That's incredible. What are the biggest challenges you faced along the path?
I faced the fact that I don't know if you know this, but there's 46,000 foundations in Israel. And 46,000? 46,000 foundations. There are only 7 that have the Midot, the efficiency stamp, but there are 46,000. So many for the army, so many for sick children, not like MakeAWish, because it's one wish, one child, and I'll explain that in depth in a moment, because there's a lot of children's foundations that take people together on a group. But I'll tell you the reason why Make-A-Wish is so special. But, from the Army to Holocaust, many, many foundations. And there are your number of global international supporters, that some of them are Israeli that live abroad or what have you, but there's your number. There's not a handful. There's maybe 2 handfuls of the very wealthy that contribute. So it's difficult. And if you're not getting help from the government, it's a real struggle. And we do not get help from the government. So it's going to those same people. So what I created, again, because I had to think out of the box, I created something called the Shared Appeal. And I started that in Australia. I said to the CEO, what if we go to the Jewish community in Australia and we do fundraisers and split the profits 50-50? Because so many Jews abroad want to give to Israel. So he said, let's do it. And the tagline of that is give to where you live and where you love. And I've been in Australia 3 times. I went with David Gerstein, the artist of this, actually. You've seen his work, the butterflies in the airport and the bike riders. He made this sculpture, but he came with an exhibit of all of his art to Australia. And Dvir came and did his stand-up, and we split the profits. And then we did it in Florida, and we did it in London. And that is my way of coming out of Israel proper and doing fundraising. So that was another innovative thing, and we're hoping very soon to do it together with the Emirates. Hani is a dear friend of mine. We meet all of the Make-A-Wish people once a year abroad. Somewhere in the world, and so I'm close to Hani. And I said, let's do something in the Emirates. So we're hoping to do it in November around the Formula One, because Roy Nissany, the very first Formula One driver, is on our board of directors. And I have to say, it's very exciting for all of your viewers that if you go into Roy Nissany, you will see that he had the Make-A-Wish logo put on the back of the Formula One car. So
wow.
It's incredible. It's incredible that he was able to achieve that. So it's very exciting.
I have to say, I think all the time about, impact and impact at scale. And, when I'm hearing 4,200 wishes and 26 years and running into like a business, I think there's so many lessons to be learned from, the way that you grew and are still growing Make-A-Wish Israel, all the way from, this idea of bringing it to Israel for the personal experience, but also now to actually going into the retail and partnering with Disney. And unfortunately, 20 minutes doesn't even begin to articulate how, the fascinating journey. But my goal through this show is to, just get a little bit of taste so that I can now explore much more deeply and hopefully incite curiosity with a lot of other people. But Denise, are you ready for a few fun questions?
Sure. Like fun.
All right. We'll start off easy. Favorite subject in school K to 12?
K to 12. I think one of my greatest memories is art. When I put on a smock today when I cook, I remember the easel and finger painting. And if I could be a child again, one of my colleagues in Brazil, they say they're so lovely. The founders of Make-A-Wish Brazil, they say the reason we look so good without plastic surgery is because we were playful. We decided at our age to become playful. And I have visions of that all the time. I'd like to say math or something, but no, it was literally finger painting, probably in first grade. That's my greatest memory.
I love it. I love it. Who is one of your role models, real or fake? One of your role models in life.
I think that a role model definitely is Oprah, the giving. Her giving was remarkable. Globes just did a whole article about one of my role models, and it was my brother. And it was the entire piece was about my brother and his giving. That it was the spark that his spark of giving.
I love it.
Certainly my spark. So he was certainly a role model, and Oprah certainly is as a woman.
I love it. And the hardest question of them all, not the most important, but still the hardest. 3 words that you would choose to describe yourself, or if I were to ask Avi or anybody that is involved with Make-A-Wish, how would they describe Denise BarAharon?
Well, I made a sculpture. It's in Ra'anana. I sculpt. That's my passion. And it said on the bottom, "My beloved brother who loved to love." And it's 3 sides of a woman. But actually there's 4. And people have said that. 1 is philanthropy, 1 is family and motherhood, and 1 is giving. 1 is philanthropy, 1 is philanthropy, 1 is business and profession, and 1 is family. And everyone that knows me said, "I cannot believe that you didn't have 4, because the 4th is passion." So I am extremely passionate in everything that I do. So I think there's 4 sides, not 3. But actually, I made that sculpture for the city of Ra'anana.
That's beautiful. And for this episode, we'll take 4 words and not 3. I think it's much more fitting. Denise, thank you very, very much for coming on. This was inspiring. I've been following Make-A-Wish for a long, long time. And thank you for the inspiration. It was just fantastic.
My pleasure. And I've been following you and your great success. So thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Take care. Bye, Denise. Bye-bye.